Hey everyone, we are back for another pandemic class in our backyard, Davin Rich European Martial Arts backyard. I hope everybody's staying safe. You're keeping the appropriate amount of distance, but you're not letting this stop you from doing what you need to do and what you want to do that'll allow you to help maintain your sanity as well as safety. Today, I didn't think that. Today, we are going to be looking at some wrestling action. With the, what I want to look at is first master of grappling in Fior's manuscript. We're going to enter it a slightly different way than Fior's, because in Fior's it starts from the grapple, first master, and we're going to go ahead and start it from a punch. From that action, we're going to move into this play. There we go. This is Seventh Scholar of the First Master. And we're going to be looking at that. I got a message from Nathaniel wanting to know about this play. And after we go through the First Master, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about that one because it's a fun little action and there's a lot of amazing things that are happening in that one time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a couple people with us. Welcome. When you come on in, please go ahead and just say hello so we can see who's here joining us. As we're going through, feel free to ask questions because we're going to stop periodically to check questions. So thank you very much for joining myself and John at Davin Rich European Martial Arts Backyard. And again, we're looking at first master in the grappling section of Fior's manuscript. Now, in that action, it's starting from a grapple, one high, one low. We're actually going to start this action from a punch. And the reason I want to start it from a punch, it's not what's in the manuscript, but getting into this is not something that we're going to see a lot of in today's world. Usually if it's in today's world, it's more in here and we're in close and we're trying to do punch and that kind of thing and wrestling around. So we're going to start this off of a straight punch. It's actually going to be a cross because it's coming with his back foot. So we'll switch sides and go ahead and check distance. I would use that as this one. So I said wrong. We're doing it off jab. Well within distance. Once again, I'll go back to what I said before. Make sure you're training in distance. Otherwise, you're training yourself falsely. And if you ever need to use any of these skills, it's not going to work because they're not going to attack the way that you've trained for. I was just watching a video the other day of Jim Carrey doing a knife defense skit, right? You attack wrong. You're supposed to attack like this without ever bending your elbow. Make sure you're training correctly. So John throws that punch, and we know it's going to go all the way through. My first defense is I'm going to check my hair on my left side with a step out with my right foot. Go ahead. To cover that line. Let's do it here. As we do this, we're hitting his wrestling guard. You stand back here again. I'm standing here. He throws that attack and hold. I go to long guard with my arm extended to find him at his elbow. Then, as I step out, I go to boar's tooth. And if I don't move when I go to boar's tooth, I'm driving it right into my face. Go back again. I'm still getting hit. Remember, your weapon is only half of your defense. Your feet are the other half. You can defend yourself with only half, but why risk it? When I defend myself from long guard to boar's tooth, I do a small step with my right foot, and I go slightly forward and out. So I'm walking past his left shoulder. So I'll do again. I'll do again. Covering that line. And I don't take my hand all the way back. I just guide his hand so it goes right past my ear. I want to use both hands. As a general rule, in knife fighting or any of those kinds of things, if I have one hand high, the other hand is low. And I want them to work together. So one high, one low. And I'll shift around as I'm doing that. It's also very good for doing the robot dance. Well, that's a whole nother video. You're welcome. So go ahead and do that again. Oh. So now as I step out and I cover, this hand goes up. And I want to be, I want to be just behind his elbow. With my hand up and my palm facing my other side. So I cover and this comes up. You'll notice as I do it, his shoulder rolls. I'm not going through long guard with this hand. I'm just driving my hand through his tricep. That's the first action. Let's do that. There's my first action. The high-low on this is as this hand comes up, when it's going down, this hand is going up. So it's crossing in this plane with his arm in between the two arms. Let's do that again. Now, as soon as I've crossed, I don't want my elbow to go above his. I don't want to be here because now he can just bend his elbow and pull my head into that other hand because I know he's got another weapon. And now he's going to do it again. Because he's pulling my head in, I have nowhere to go. And for those of you that have never had a concussion, congratulations, first off. Good job. A concussive injury occurs because the brain flops around inside the skull. If I get hit in the face and my head moves, my skull has a better chance of moving with my brain. However, if he holds onto my head and he punches me and pulls me into it, my brain just sloshes around. And you have a better chance of a concussive injury side to side than front to back. There's not as much room inside the skull, front to back, as there is side to side. So the greatest concussive injury occurs in side to side motion within the skull cavity. Therefore, I can't allow him to be able to grab onto me and pull me in like that. So let's go and do that again. Let that hit. I cover and I roll up. I know this hand is going to hit me. Go ahead. I know that's what he would really like to do. To counter that, let's look at. To counter that, I do my next piece of footwork. So measure. Okay. Now, to protect against that hand, I step across his body. Now I'm using my entire body to manipulate his shoulder. And he can no longer hit me with that other hand. Do that again. Go ahead and slowly, at that pace, throw the first, followed by the second. Ready? Ready. It doesn't work. And if we do that hard and fast, we're not going to. Thank you. I hyperextend and or break the shoulder or the elbow and do damage to the shoulder and the rotator cuff as well. So do it one more time. Another move. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Go ahead. All right, you're good. I want you to throw that punch too. Yep. There you go. Now, you all right?
Good. Thank you. Very well.
I added one extra thing to that. One more piece of footwork, and it's just that my body continued moving in that path. And that last piece of footwork is a bolt to stop them. Go by the punch. Right. Go ahead. Okay. Oh, I'm not moving. 3, 1. Now that other hand comes in, so I step across, taking that out of the way. I grab my own wrist, and I use the handle right behind my thumb to hold on. Then I just volt the stop leg. And he can't help but go with me. And if it's all done in one smooth, fluid action, there's no time for him to adjust his balance point. Good morning, Shay. Welcome into the class from Australia. Glad to have you here. Sunday morning, so you don't need to go to work today. So let's go and do that again. I'm not going to move. Just measure. Measure. Nice. A. B. Good. Good. I'm going to take you down. Go. C. Now, let me move the chair so I don't throw him into that.
That's flavor.
Throw him into that more. As we're doing these actions, take your time. Practice them slow. Let your body get used to the movement. What I want to go into next is the important part of your movement. And all you need to do when you move to the side is a small movement about half the width of your body. We assume all strikes are coming to the line, my nose line. When we did the last class on true cross, we talked about the 3 different lines, nipple, nose, nipple. We assume the completion is going to be passing into or through my nose line. Because it's moving to this line, I only need to move half my body weight, depending on which direction I move. With that being said, I can't rely on just my movement, again, because like earlier, that's going to only be half my defense. So when my opponent throws this punch, which I will tell you, it sucks a lot. It does suck a lot. He comes through. I find that. And again, without using my hand, he's now scraping over my jaw. That's okay. Looks good. All right. So with the cover of my hand, you can see how far it moves past my body. Without using my hand, go, go. Now, I am still getting hit, but it's a glancing blow. It's not a full-on shot that turns my head. What we have to make sure we don't do is try to run away from the attack. And that would be a piece of footwork that's just too big. And that would be something like this. Measure. Yeah. Because now he's going to punish me with that other hand. Because I just walked right into him. If he does both of those at the same time, even if I use my defensive action, 1, 2, 1, 2, got that. Right into the neck. Or shovel punch. Any of those things. Go ahead and do something. Because I moved way over here. I don't like that. That's no bueno. I do. However, if I do a small action, now I'm in line. Go ahead and get it in. I'm in line for that secondary blow. But you'll notice it's still coming. In fact, it's still coming right to my center line, and then he's passing through it. As he retracts his other hand in preparation for his next blow, because I'm going to recover or try to recover from that, and it just leads into bad stuff for me. All that being said, keep your footwork small so you're not throwing yourself into his next force, his next action. Just like two cars coming together. It's going to be a whole lot more if it's just one car moving. So, as we go through, measure, second measure. Okay. Go ahead. I cover and I come up to grab that. Then I step forward, grab my own wrist, and then I bolt the stop leg. And then I tap dance on his face. If that's what I choose to do. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's do it again. All right. So, the attack comes in. Let's move this way a little bit. One, there we go. Good measure. Second measure. Go ahead, do it again. I step through. I hold the stop leg. Beast off the groin. Ooh. Because that's what Master Ken tells us we need to do. And we know that Emeridote is the way to go, right? So, once you throw him to the ground, you've got a lot of opportunities. This also works if he has a dagger. I think if you're going for myself. So that's the blow coming in. Do it again. Then I can control it and discuss his life choices with him. And then, again, re-stomp the groin. That's one. Sorry, I've been watching Master Ken videos while I've been in quarantine. So I've been enjoying them.
Personal training.
Yeah. So that is my take on the first master, but against a punch, not a grapple. If he has, for whatever reason, he's holding his knife in his other hand and he throws a punch first, or even a grab. So this one there. So, grab. Okay. Into stabbing me, and then drawing me into it. Want to do that again? So on that. Grab me. And pull me in. Against that, I can do the same kind of action. And that's going to make that more useless. I'm still in danger, so I protect myself by stepping forward so he can't use that secondary weapon. One of the things Fior says is in the grappling section is, and this is paraphrase, you only need to deal with one weapon. Step on. If he's holding on to me and he has a knife, I can ignore the knife hand and deal with the grappling hand, or I can ignore the grappling hand and deal with the knife hand. I have the choice. And so that means I don't need to try to split my attention between the two. So for even something like this, he's got that. If I step back, I can still get a variation. You okay? Good. That went a little bit faster than I meant.
No worries. That was really nice.
I still got that same action. Then if we take this into movies, so we're going to go movie, slow. I pull that down and pin down further because I'm not that flexible. Somebody flexible steps over. And that's when we get the arm break. Ah! Now, I'm not flexible enough to do that, but imagine taking this whole action into a movie-style choreography. Just some fun things that you can play with and think about. So that is the first master in Fior. However, he also teaches us how to defeat that. So now if John does that same thing to me, I come through, I throw the punch, that's the punch. I throw the punch, checking measure. He does the action. Go ahead, you can take it down. That's what we're running into. So I counter that by dropping my elbow. Checking measure. Now at this point, because I'm in tight, he can't break my elbow. So my next action is I step in, grab the back of his shirt, I grab the back of his shirt or his jacket or whatever. I pull that towards me. At the same time, I push his chin against it. Good, good. Good. All right, let's do that again. Back up a little bit. Second measure. And the idea with this is that as you're doing it, you can grab their shirt, you can grab their belt loop, whatever you can lay hands on. Don't think about this so much as I need to grab a specific thing. Instead, think of this as soon as I throw my hand around, I'm gonna grab whatever's there for me. Yeah, it could be a Volta Stabile, Nick. So, Nick, welcome to the class. Glad you're with us. Who else? Ezekiel. Good to see you, man. So, once again, I throw the punch, checking measure. He counters me. Go ahead and take me down.
Move the second foot, people.
Otherwise, he's going to move with you. Let's go and do it again. Do that same thing. Checking measure. Ready? Oh. Okay. So, if you add an extra beat of time, it doesn't work right. You've got to move everything together. So, measure. He does the action, and he takes me down. So, I'd rather not have my elbow broken. Silly things like that.
Minor details.
So, check the measure. He does the action, and I bend it. Now, can we close with him? As I do it, you'll notice, move this one. I'm resting my elbow on his chest, and I'm hooking his head. But I'm not grabbing onto his head because I can't use my thumb. I'm just wrapping my fingers around his head. I'm not pulling him down because that doesn't do me, that's not as effective for me in this next action. It is an effective action, but not what I'm doing now. Let's do that again. Great, checking measure. He goes. And I just let this come in. Because he's still trying to do his action to grab onto Young. He's still trying to do his action, and he can still hurt my shoulder. Go ahead and pull down. And that counters me. Go ahead and do it again. Just one little step takes it out of the way. And look, I get right there. So as he pulls down, I'm going with him and grabbing on. Now at this point, I'm just using this grip. My goal, let me back that up a minute. Good, good. So just stand here and face them. Our hinge points that we want to attack. We have the head, there's our first hinge. The next hinge is the shoulders. It can be forwards or backwards or up or down. Our next hinge point is at the hips. If I push the hips out of the way, I break the whole structure, or I pull the hips. From there, we go down to the knees, and in between that, back up with me. One more, there we go. So my next hinge is at the knees. My final hinge point is actually on the ground between his legs. Because as soon as I have that, I can throw his whole balance off. So we have head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. No, head, shoulders, hips, knees, in between. If you can manipulate one of those hinge points, you break their structure. And that's what we're doing at this point. So if you look there for me, there you go. I'm going to check the measure. Good. Mm-hmm. He does his action. You got to do it all. Okay. Not fast, but do it all. you're at. Checking measure. You'll notice how quickly it didn't take me a lot to get around there. And when I step in, you can, yeah. Let's do it again. Yeah. Let's do it again. What I want you to watch is his feet. Go ahead and do the whole line. Measure.
I'm listening to you.
There it is. Good. That's where bad things are going to happen again. Watch his feet as he does this, and his legs. Measure. Nope, I did that wrong. I did it. Measure. Now, you see how his legs are crossed? There's nothing there for him. Then when I step around and I grab, he's now in an even weaker position for that. And I'm not going to do it because my next step with my right foot, remember that hinge point I said between his legs? I go in between his legs. And as I'm going between his legs, I'm pulling this hip towards me as I'm pushing his chin against that position. You can already see, hold on. Yeah. Okay. You can already see, I'll go over my own foot. That bad angle that he has. And when I step through and I keep pushing this, he has no choice but to fall down because everything is against him in his action. So there is the first master against a punch, not against a grapple. Then we have the counter to that. But Fiore in the third master shows us the counter to, or excuse me, the third scholar shows us the counter to the counter. So you're going to throw the punch. I'm going to do the first action. You're going to do the second action. Okay. Right. Go ahead. Yep. Okay, good. And then he's got that whole action. Let's do that again. Yes, sir.
Check your measure.
Right. And bad things are going to happen to me right now. Now, what I want to do for this, stay there. Where start off pushing, see how his fingers are up along my head? Then as he continues the pull and the push, he just lifts his elbow up. And what that does is hook his palm, the meat of his palm, right behind the jawline. And then go ahead and push it forward.
There.
That, now, just to give you an idea, I'm just going to keep talking and do it whenever you want because I want them to hear the change in my voice as we're doing the whole action. It just compresses the whole body, and there's nothing that they can do from that position. They have to have already felt the beginning and gone to the next place. Nathaniel says, thank you for covering my question. Glad to do it. We haven't got there yet, but we will. So now we're going to go into the counter to the counter. I throw the initial punch, checking measure. He does the counter, and I counter that, and that's what we're doing. Right, now I'm going to counter, then I go for my counter into this whole action. But now I'm going to counter that. And we're going to go to a general rule. If you don't know what to do in the middle of a fight, copy what they're doing. It sounds juvenile, but it really works. So let's switch sides and let's do it again, but this time you're the initial attacker. Okay, so or I'm the initial attacker. All right, I punch through, he covers that. I counter that. In here, no, because you need to, but I'm going to do the next time. So you want to attack. Yeah. That's the problem. It gets confusing with counter to counter. The counter to the counter to the counter. Best thing, just go to the pub and buy one beer and get out of the fight. All right, check measure.
You need to check measure first.
So I punch. He does his action. Nope.
Yep. I punch you, you try to break my arm, I throw you on the ground. Got it.
There we go.
You need to simplify this here.
Sorry. Go ahead and measure.
Nice.
Go ahead and continue. Good. Now, let's do that again. My counter to that is as soon as I feel his arm bend, I let go of this whole action. I don't even try to grab my wrist. So he throws a punch. I step out. He does that. I step in, and I put my hand on his back. Right now, he's got the advantage. Go ahead, take it. Don't pull. Grab my blouse. Grab my shirt. No, grab my shirt. There it is. Now pull.
Yeah. There. Yep.
So it's important that when you're doing this, go ahead and pull my hip. Just pull my hip. Pull. That doesn't break my structure. All that does is pull me into him. But if he grabs my shirt, pull. There's no real movement through my hinge. But if he grabs my shirt and pulls his elbow back, he turns my whole body and he can lock my arm in place. But I know that. And what I do, face in, I've got him on the back. I lift up these two fingers, so I only have my middle fingers. And I'm only going to use these two fingers. I'm not using my index finger or pinky. I find him, slide down, and I hook those two fingers right underneath the butt cheek. Go ahead and step. He can't move anywhere because I stopped that hip. Then this hand, in which I was trying to break his elbow, just goes straight into the chin and throw him off balance. So let me check in with you guys real quick. We've done a lot here. Nathaniel, are there any baton plays you could do with the grip of your sword? If so, how would you accomplish it? Well, I don't think of those. I would change the thought process on that a little bit. Don't think of those as baton plays, but think of them as dagger plays. If I've got only one hand on the hilt of my sword, the extension, the rest of my handle, is close to the length of a dagger. And while baton and dagger can be used alike, because I've got all that extra of the sword above, I'm only using this as a grappling tool. Shay, you are correct, sir. But that puts a whole different spin on the fight. Talk about, well, nope. This is YouTube Live. Let's not do that. So we come through. He throws the punch. I cover. I begin my action. He counters that. I let go, slide down, and step through, and I can hook it. I've got his whole body here, and I can just now volta stable, and he falls down. Some of the differences in today and back then are the billow of the clothing. Our clothing is much looser than what a young man's clothing would most likely be in the early 15th century. At that point in Italy, they were wearing tights, very tight-fitting tights, and their doublet was very tight and came to about here. So there was nothing to grab that was not anatomical at that point. So when you're doing this action, if I'm doing it in today's world, which we've been to, he throws that. There we go. He throws that, and I go here. He counters me, and I go down. I can just grab his trousers and do the same kind of action. So if you can grab the trousers, that's fine. If you're unable to grab the trousers, those two fingers. There we go. It's the Anubis attack. Or Spider-Man attack. Either way.
I like Anubis.
I guess so, because Spider-Man is copyrighted.
Yep.
Marvel, This is all Marvel. I have nothing to do with Spider-Man. Therefore, it'll be the Anubis attack. So let's do that again. Okay. You tie it. Nice. I counter that. He goes there. I hook and I push. And sorry about that.
No worries.
It's almost.
So I teach the grappling a lot in the at the school. So when I hit these points here and he's got it correctly, I know I'm falling. So I just allow it to happen right now for my safety and for the safety between the two of us here. I think we've talked about this before and everything here, but we need to do the actions correctly. And we need to, because if we try to skip around and everything, we actually put our partner in danger. And we need to trust a partner to be able to work with us so that I don't hurt them while I do this properly.
Why don't we sit down and actually talk a little bit about that? Because that's important. Go ahead and have a seat. And this is going to be a little sidetrack, just so that we can talk about safety when you're training in this way. And then we'll go ahead and step into the other play. So go and tell them about that.
So, now I'm on the spot. All right. So, talking about the area there, safety and everything, we've talked about you have to do this action correctly here, right? Jim Carrey, we can't do stiff positions here. You have to be in measure. You have to go to the target. You need to do these things properly if you want any of this to work to be real. Otherwise, you cheat yourself in any training portion there. But we also look at safety within the margin, why we move off of those areas. Okay, where we see people who will punch, beside somebody's head. Here. Or out of measure.
Or I'll even add one other thing. So he does that, and he's in measure. Go ahead, in measure. And I do my counter. But then he just stays there, and there's no other action.
Yes. Staying in this position here right now. So, I punch out. He checks it.
And I hit him 27 times. It's not realistic. He's not going to stand there and let me do it.
No, I won't be waiting there. So, keeping those portions, but how do we find the safety in that there? Well, we build that. We build that safety with each other. Is what I teach. We work together, we train together, we trust together. The very first thing you have to learn before you can do any of what we do here in my class is you have to learn how to roll, and you have to learn how to fall. How to relax and begin building that trust in yourself and your partner. So when we're working at this here, we're trying to pause it so help you guys see what we're doing. But at the same time, we've worked up to the area there to, if he's going to do this action properly, he's going to throw me. So let him. It's a weird thing to kind of say there, and I hope you can fill in on some of the portions of that.
Right. So the system in Fior is, if you've done any Aikido, you'll see a lot of similarities to it. The idea behind Fior's grappling technique, though, is that you are putting them down hard, you're putting them down fast. And a prime example of that is going to be the next action we do, because I'm going to read what the master says from 3 different manuscripts. And I want you to hear the words he uses. It's not the gentle way. I want to be so hard and so vicious on this one guy that I don't waste any time with him. And even his friends are like, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't even like him. We're going to go now. I can't afford to fence with somebody in this kind of situation. This is all about hard, fast, and brutal, so that I can create an escape avenue. The only reason that I engage in physical confrontation with another person is because there is no other escape avenue. If I can put somebody down, I may have created myself a pathway to get away, because there's only that one person in there. Because we're doing volta-stables and things, we're assuming that, let me say it a different way. One of the ways I heard it that I really liked it is, even jerks have friends. I can't assume it's going to be a one-on-one fight. And if I focus too much on one person, their buddies are going to come out and hit me in the back because I've given them my back. So if I need to create an opening, I can use that same creation of the opening to put his body in the way of his friends, to give me an avenue to escape or whatever I need to be doing. In the martial sense, it may be that I'm not able to escape. In the medieval sense, it may be that I'm not able to escape. So that gives me enough time to be able to draw my knife, and then it becomes a whole different fight because now I'm armed. So all of this is about putting them down hard and putting them down fast, so that I can do something else. And with that, we're going to move into the next action. And on that one, this is the first master with the seventh scholar. So we did the first master with the first, second, and third scholar. Now we're going to look at the seventh scholar. And in the seventh scholar, the Getty version, he says, "You seized me from behind in order to throw me to the ground, and I turned like this. And if I fail to throw you to the ground, you will have a lucky escape. This play is a good finishing move, but unless it is done quickly, the remedy will fail." So that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I can't let them get to the position. If they get to the position where they can move again or where they move again, I'm too late. I need to feel the shift in their balance and in the contact that they have on me. And Fior says that. Unless it is done quickly, this remedy will fail. In the Pisani Dasi, written in 1409 and then republished in 1902, Fior says, "With great cunning you grabbed me from behind, but this move will throw you to the ground without fail." So in the Pisani Dasi, he doesn't specify that you have to do it quickly. He just says that it will work. But like any practical art or any art, the only way to make it successful is to practice it over and over again. And then the Florius. And the Florius in the Bibliothèque Nationale, for this play, he says, "Traitor, by your art you have seized me from behind. This capturing nevertheless puts and buries you in the deepest ground." So there we have him telling us that not only will this make you fall, this is going to put you down so hard on the ground that you're going to make a hole. You're going to be driven into the ground. And this play, what we would recognize it as, is against the suplex. So if I pull this up here, it's that play right there. And again, let me read it while you're looking at the picture. "You seized me from behind in order to throw me to the ground." There's your suplex. "And I turned like this. And if I fail to throw you to the ground, you will have a lucky escape. This play is a good finishing move, but unless it is done quickly, this remedy will fail." So the suplex, we see that done in lots of different arts. It can be off a grapple. So we're in tight, right? And we're fighting, and then he goes for the suplex. Does a push, goes underneath. Now he's ready to suplex and throw me over his shoulder. Go and look up. So that's one way. If I go in for the suplex and we're in fighting, I can push down and get that same action. It can also be done off a punch. So if we go to the first master, in the first master, what we did, we moved to the inside. Then we have to worry about that. So the problem with moving to the inside is there's always another weapon. But I can also do it to the outside. Measure, measure. Good, again. and do the throw there. But you'll notice the only way that the suplex works is if they get in fast and get in tight and to lift you up. So I need to stop them from that. So let's start off from just the suplex position. So he's already got in around me, but he hasn't moved yet. So what's going to happen is my right foot is going to step back. So let's move. Yeah. So he's got me. My right foot steps back and behind his foot. So now go ahead and lift me up. Because I'm behind his foot, it's more difficult. If I'm here, right, he can lift me up. As soon as I block his leg, go ahead, he's unable to.
I have no structure in my hip right now to plant and move from lift with my legs.
Switch sides. There we go. Go ahead and lift me up. Good. As soon as I step it back, you see how this hip comes out? Go ahead and lift me up. I've stopped him, but I haven't put him down yet. This arm comes around and just rests on his back. Now, when we look at the picture, you see how you can see my 4 fingers, but you cannot see my thumb. This hand is down. Watch this. Go ahead and lift me up. Okay, good stuff. I don't want you to even, no. I just want you to watch how much movement he does. Yes. He can't lift me up, but he can lift my balance and then step back with his left foot gently so you don't hurt me or you. No, just go through my leg. And then he throws my hip out, and we're both gonna fall, but he's gonna be on my back. So he has, you all right? Yep. Let's go back.
The torque just from the shift and you're resting your hand right there.
So now if I go back to the same position, go. Here, go ahead and lift me up. You can get that foot off the ground. Watch this. Do it again. Just putting my hand down like this changes the way my muscles and my bones sit inside my body. Go ahead and lift me up. Next, lift me up. Now, because my arm's over, go to the back so you don't hurt yourself. Because I'm light and delicate. Because of having my hand over his shoulder, I stop the movement of that shoulder. But as soon as I turn this hand down, I align my bones. And if we look at this picture, look at that hand right there. We see that his palm is down, his elbow's out. And if we look at this hand, we only see his fingers. We do not see his thumb. That tells us that when he goes around, let's switch sides. I'm going to walk you through it. You got it?
Yeah, walk me through it.
So, I'm going to throw him over my shoulder. So from here, his right foot, sorry.
Okay.
His right foot step. Oh, to get a good suplex, if you've ever had the opportunity to study the Heimlich maneuver, you put the knuckle of your thumb right underneath there's a little tiny bone at the base of the sternum called the xiphoid process. Put the knuckle of your thumb right underneath the xiphoid process and pull up. This is going to compress the diaphragm, take out all of their air, and that's in the Heimlich maneuver what forces them to expel whatever's stuck in their airway. So we can use this to save somebody's life, or we can use them to, how does the master say? Bury you in the deepest ground. So you can go either way. So when you come in and you've got this knuckle underneath the sternum, drive it up. I'm going to do it lower so I don't hurt Johnny. Appreciate that. And then woohoo, up. And then I fall back and I do a suplex. Or he does a suplex. But as he does this, I can't do it from this angle because my feet, my base, if my base isn't under me, I can't do it. So I need to bring my base underneath me so I can get him up. But because I brought my base underneath me, that means he can use actually his advantage. So he steps back with his right foot and throws his right arm over my shoulder so that his thumb joint is touching my back. Not going to happen. Now, because he's in this position, he's got the full control of my body, but he has not thrown me to the ground. And this is where it gets a little dicey practicing this. You can do it on mats, but because we're on the grass right now, I don't want to dump him, but I want to show you how I get to that point. I step back, I hook that, then because I've got his leg, oh, okay, Benjamin. All right. Now, I don't know if you could hear that. I had my leg on the side of his knee, so it was right here, and I was compressing his knee to the inside. Tell him what you're showing.
So he was beginning to hyperextend my leg. So if you can see it here from where I was in that position, his pressure was walking out my right leg. And as he was shifting, all he did was keep extending it there just below the knee, where if he finished that movement there, he would have broken my leg.
So there's lots of things going on here. I didn't even think about that to the side of the knee, but yeah, we're doing that as well. So just going to do that again. You got me? Yep, now, yeah, that's behind us. So do it. So now, as soon as he gets here, I step back and I hit that position. Then I just bolt a stop leg, and now that leaves all my weight on my left foot, and I kick the back of his leg out.
I can't fall straight through that.
Want to?
I can do it.
All right, let's use this way.
Yep.
So we're gonna drop them.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very welcome. To see the completion of this entirety here right now, I'd like to help you guys see this. And in this position here, I believe I can safely be able to fall through the water.
But don't practice this to completion unless you have experience falling.
Very, very important.
Well, let me qualify that. We all have experience at falling. As long as you know how to fall without hurting yourself.
So you can get back up perfectly fine.
So he gets into position for the suplex. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Right? So as soon as that's there, I do this, bolt the stop leg, putting my weight to my left foot. And I put him down. Re-stomp the groin.
Third one.
Wait a minute. So let's do that one more time without going all the way to the ground. Unless you want to.
I can perfectly do it there now, unless we want to slow it down.
Yeah, so we'll go slow and we'll do it all the way through. Go back. So put one hand on my hip because you're just coming around me. Now you're completing the action. As I feel that going, I step back. Then can you see that space in between his elbows? Because if I don't step, he's got my back all the way against his chest, and there's no room for me to get out. Then we go into other things, but we're not going to do that today. But because I step back,
it's an important part I want you all to see, actually.
So, you got me?
Gotcha.
All right, go ahead and go around. See how tight? There's no space between here. Ooh, no. That's a good one. I can feel it on my diaphragmatic process. Because he's got me this tight, there's no room, and he can easily lift me up. Go ahead. Okay. But as soon as I go back, I feel him coming around, and I step. Now, look at all this space that's in here. This goes down. My thumb, you can't see my thumb, and this is here. And this turns this way. There's the picture in the manuscript. Let me take a look at that. I want to make sure I've got the right angle on it. So yeah, So we'll do that again. Rotate. There's the picture in the manuscript. Oh, wait a minute. Because you're looking at my back, my fingers are this way, so I'm putting the palm of my hand. Ooh, hello. So watch this. Yep. I'm trying to just manually push his leg out of the way. It doesn't work if I've got my thumb tucked in. But if I put my pinky against his body, it drops my shoulder down and back. And I can feel how that weakens his structure. And then I just drop down. Got it? Got it. Then I can just throw him onto the ground and make him hit so hard that he ends up eating the ground. So let's check out the. So Nathaniel says, I was looking at Meyer recently and noticed he has a low guard named Iron Door. Is there any relationship to Fior's Iron Door from this? Okay, so Nathaniel, in Meyer, he has a guard called Flug and a guard called Alber, the Fool's Guard. Flug is plow, and that's the one that's got the point up, and it's like our short guard. Alber is like our middle iron door. And Alber, Fool's Guard, is a really strong guard, but it takes a long time. And I've not heard a German practitioner be able to give me a good understanding of if it's a Fool's Guard because you're a fool to be in this guard, or you're a fool to attack this guard. I'm not sure which one. Well, everyone, come on in, Johnny. I want to thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this. Well, yeah, Nick says, in as much as they both close off the low line like a door. However, in Meyer, he does not call it middle iron door. He calls it Alber, the Fool's Guard. So he doesn't use the term door. I hope you all enjoyed this. We will be back on doing this again on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Please spread the word. And if you have any questions about what we did, go ahead and post them either here. Post them underneath the video because I'm going to post that later today. And we will go ahead and answer those questions as best we can. From John and me, thank you very much for joining us today. Stay safe, stay smart, and I look forward to seeing you when all this craziness is over. And then we can go get crazy together. Until then, everyone, bye. Oh,